Hi, everyone. It's Dr. Colleen Meyer. Welcome to a brand new take with Michelle Pettis and friends. Michelle is a speaker, food story finder, author of a soon to be released book called Leaving Large. Michelle talks about food stories and how she was a food addict. She gained and lost 700 pounds in 40 years. Guys, it's a great story. She found the secret to keeping the weight off. And she's going to talk to us today about this week's Monday Dilemma. Michelle, the floor is all yours.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Colleen Meyer, producer, moderator extraordinaire. So if it's Sunday night, it's 7 o'clock. It must be a brand new take. We're happy to be here. I'm happy to be here with my favorite nutritionist on the planet, Gina Cushenberry. She's going to be sharing with us the recipe of this week from the I Am Brand New Taste Kitchen. So everybody get your taste buds ready for that, right? Get your taste buds ready for that. And also get your, I don't know, I'm going to call them taste buds, but just get ready for my book, which, oh my God, it's going to be coming out. It's going to be coming out the end of November. I'm so
excited. It is such a good book.
Yes. Leaving Large, the stories of a food addict. All right. So at first it was called Leaving Large, the memoir, memoir of a food addict, a food addict's memoir. I forgot the whole name of food addict's memoir because I stories of the food addict. But what it is a story that it is a book that chronicles my food management issues, my food abuse issues for the past 40 years. Like Colleen said, over my lifetime, I have gained and lost over 700 pounds. And I finally figured it out. I figured out the secret for me, and I think it may be the secret for many people, was to get in touch with my food stories. And that is just to fundamentally change what food means to me and get real clear that food is just about nutrition and nourishment. And we eat for the results that we want in our body, how we look, how we want to feel, and how we want to show up. You know, in the old days, I was just eating for taste. What's it taste like, right? Whatever it was greasy, whatever it was sweet, that always tasted the best. That was the only thing that guided my decisions. And all that was wrapped up in my food story. So the book's coming out. Be on the lookout for it. You can download it. Be available on ebook. You can pre-order, signed copy from me. You can get it Barnes & Noble, on the website, online. It's going to be available everywhere. So stay on the lookout, leavinglarge.com if you want to download a free chapter. But tonight, we are going to be doing what we do every Sunday night, which is discussing the Monday Dilemma. And so here's what the Monday Dilemma is if you are tuning in for the first time. The Monday Dilemma is just situations that come up in everyday life where we have to manage food. Hey, Lisa. Situations that come up in everyday life where we have to manage food and make smart decisions and separate our feelings about the food from the food itself. And not get caught up in the circumstances that have us eating for the wrong reasons. That's what gets us in trouble. We eat too much of the wrong things for the wrong reasons, and it is often unconscious. How do I know that? Because that's what I did, right? So every week we put out a situation where we have to make some decisions. And sometimes the decisions are the choices are new to us and they may be hard, right? But we just have to be conscious that we have to make them, right? We just have to make them. And one of the ways that it makes it easy for us to make them is to have a goal, to have a reason why. And so we're gonna jump into it. We're gonna talk to not to Dr. Gina, but to Gina about a recipe, and then we're also going to talk about not just the food, but just our mindset around how we approach food, and we're just going to pull back the layers on that. So the dilemma with Dr. Colleen, if you will read the dilemma this week.
Okay, yeah, let me get there. Here it is. Okay. This week's dilemma. Now that we are back at work, we are back to having monthly in-person staff meetings. We always celebrate coworkers' birthdays at these meetings. I have been having such success with my new diet program, which I am excited about. But these birthday meetings always end with ice cream and cake or cupcakes and cookies. What to do?
Ooh, that's loaded, right?
Mhm.
That's loaded. That's loaded.
That is a
So,
loaded
so Gina,
question.
I see you nodding your head. That nod tells me that seems familiar to you.
Maybe a little. But I mean, I've mentioned this before. You know how I feel about those birthdays. I always say if it's not your birthday, you don't need the cake or the ice cream. Wait for your birthday to have it. But I mean, in real life, we always know these are temptations, these are things,
Mhm.
these are situations that come up time and time again. So I think again, this just goes back to that preparation thing that
Right.
we bring up each week. It's just like it's a reoccurring thing because it's something that has to happen, I think.
Mhm.
But you know it's coming. You have to have a plan for these events, right? So either you conveniently, if it's at the end of the staff meeting, maybe you're conveniently beelining back to your office. It's that same thing. Maybe if you had a luncheon at work, where we had talked about before, taking your plate and scurrying off to maybe your office or to an area where nobody really sees you, so nobody really knows if you ate it or not. You're not being rude, but you've taken the piece of cake or what have you and moved on, and whether you eat it or not,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I would say with that. But I think the biggest thing for me, first off, would be wait for your birthday.
That birthday, that scenario kind of brings up a lot of different things for me, right? And I see Lisa is on the line, so maybe she'll weigh in. And if anybody else is watching and you have a birthday story or you want to weigh in, with your questions or observations about cake and ice cream, please do. But I think that so many of us have memories that go back to being a kid and your birthday being a big deal and cake and ice cream was all part of the pleasure, right? That, and depending on how old you are, it might have been pin the tail on the donkey. It might have been the pinata. It might have been musical chairs. So all those games tell you how old I am, because that's what we did, right? So but all of that is like the cake and the ice cream was all wrapped up into the celebration, right? And as we get older, that's kind of like imprinted in our memory banks, is that's the way you celebrate birthdays, because that's what you remember. And we can unpack that, just like Gina said, that well, that's what you did when you were a kid. You don't have to do it. You don't have to do it because you're an adult, right? You don't have to do it because you're an adult. You can celebrate your birthday. You can celebrate your birthday in other ways. And if other people haven't made the leap, haven't made the leap, then that's, like you said, it's their birthday. It's not your birthday.
Right.
But what I found is that even when I was still, eating, sweets a little bit more, that once I became conscious of that, it didn't taste as good. It didn't taste as good now as I remember it. And if I'm trying to preserve the memory, I may as well just not even eat it, because
Right.
it's not going to be the case. And if we also stick to the mindset, or keep in mind that the purpose of eating is nutrition and nourishment, right? And we're full, then when the cake and the ice cream comes, you don't even want it because you're full, right? So if you've got, it's coming in the afternoon, eat a nice lunch, so that when it shows up, you're not even tempted, because your body's not even receptive to it. It's not even receptive to it, and we can start training ourselves in that manner. But sometimes
Getting to a place too of where when you are more mindful of it, and like you said, not kind of saving it, yes and no, but also like really like spend those calories and those sugar amounts on things you really like,
Yeah.
things that you really want,
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I always say, like, if it's not chocolate, I'm not wasting my calories. That's my own personal preference. But I'm just saying, for me, that's kind of how I've divvied it up. So I'm not, if it's cheesecake, I'm gonna let that go because for me, it's something different that really satisfies a craving or a real taste for me that I really enjoy. So I mean,
Mhm.
that's something else to kind of think about with these things. Like, if it's a vanilla cake and you're not a big fan of vanilla cake, why are you eating it anyway?
Mhm.
Right, right. But you hit on the question. If
Yeah,
you're not a fan of it, why are you eating it? And so that's the question that we have to ask ourselves. Just
yeah,
like you said, we've got to be mindful. Why this? Why now? Am I really hungry? And more important than that, if this eating this cake isn't going to get me to the body I say that I want,
right.
why am I eating it? And that's the thing that we have to sit with. If we have a real clear picture in our mind of the body that we want
Mhm.
and how we want to look and how we want to feel, and that is crafted in a compelling manner. I know I say it over and over again, because I say it over and over again because it is so important that the picture that you have in your mind of your goal, of your happy place, of your bride story
Mhm.
is so strong that it just overshadows anything that might show up in front of you. That you don't even want it. You don't even have a desire for it, because you know that this food, this cake, this birthday cake and ice cream is not going to get you what you really want. What is your heart's desire? We have to get to what is our heart's desire, right?
Mhm.
And be okay with what our heart's desire is, right? And stand up for it and fight for it. And
Yeah.
um, yeah, that
Push through it and stick with it. And I think too, like, having those things that set you up to be successful. Maybe at that moment you're going back to what you just said. What is your why? Maybe you have that written out somewhere and it's, in a couple of places, and you look at that before you walk into that meeting. Remind yourself why this is important to you, you know.
yeah. Yeah, I love that. Write it down. So Lisa wrote, I hope that this doesn't go off
Um,
the screen before I get a chance to read it. I worked out for 24 days straight so I could comfortably eat cake on the 25th day, my birthday. My custom made birthday cake was awesome, but I couldn't eat it because the urge, the taste for it was no longer there. I
wow.
mean, that is so powerful, and that
Mhm.
that is so true. Is that we can teach ourselves, we can train ourselves to want and have a desire for the things that are good for our body,
Yeah.
right? And
Mhm.
so if you get to the point where it's possible that you say, I eat anything I want, right? I eat anything I want. But the reality is you only want the things that are good for you. Which is different. So we retrain ourselves to only want that which is going to serve us and give us the body that we want. And that's a process.
Mhm.
You don't just wake up one day and,
Mm-mm.
well, maybe
Yeah.
somebody might, but I didn't.
Takes a couple of those meetings to get through to really get there. Yeah.
But Michelle, somebody answered the question. Um, they said this was on Instagram. Sing happy birthday to the monthly nominees and keep it moving. So I think
That
that's
was,
kind of like what you were saying, Gina, about,
yeah, it's somebody celebrate. You're there to celebrate for
that
them.
person.
Right. And your time will come. And
Hmm.
and at that time, like, you never know. You, like Lisa was saying, you might not even all that build up, and then it gets in front of you and you don't even want it anymore. Or it's too sweet.
It's too sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know my birthday was last weekend, and my daughter made cupcakes, but she didn't put any frosting on them. And she's like, "Oh, I didn't put frosting on them." And Michelle be popping back in, and
Yeah.
that's okay because I'm not a big frosting person. That was fine the way they were, but I just think, people get into the habit of, well, this is what it has to look like. It has
Right.
to have frosting. It has to have these things on it, but it doesn't.
No, it's so true. It's just that thing of it's that habit. You have that habit, that old story attached to how it was presented to you, and then you keep thinking this is the way we have to have it. Same thing like getting ready to roll into these holidays. All these traditions and things that we feel that we have to do to kind of like, make it everything is right, everything is perfect for us, in that type of
And
situation.
how we remembered it and how we
Right.
remembered it to be. So like Michelle always says, we're reliving that memory. And
Yes.
we're using food as the
Is that memory?
catalyst. Oh yes, of that memory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, I had a little technical difficulty, so I'm back.
We
Yeah.
kept it going.
Good, you kept it going. You kept it going. But the thing is, yeah, we can rewrite it just because that's the way we celebrated in the past. That's just because that's the way other people celebrate it now. It doesn't mean that we have to, right?
That's right.
And so, it quite frankly is okay to be odd. Right? So because the birthday is about celebrating the person, right? The birthday is about celebrating the person and being there for the celebration. And if you get to the point where, people know. If you say to somebody, look, people will. I go to events all the time, or I'm in events all the time, and people will say, you know what, I don't eat gluten. I'm allergic to gluten. Nobody, and so they're not going to eat the cake because the flour has the gluten in it. No one says one thing, and they have a perfectly lovely time.
And I was going to say that's another way to approach this dilemma, so to speak, too, because we're in a time in life where there's so many food allergies and sensitivities and all these things that you could be that person, be that odd person. I'm going to bring something, that is universal, like, and it could be universal for yourself too, just in case, where it is something that's lower in sugar or gluten-free and dairy free or something like that, to that degree, because that is a reality.
Right. You can bring your own food, right? So if you just want to feel like you want to be a part of the party, you might not be eating what everybody else eats. But quite frankly, we can say and have the freedom to say, you can say, I don't eat sugar, right? I don't eat gluten.
There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. You don't even have to say that. You can just not have it. You're not going to have any cake? No, I'm not.
Or the candy I try to give out to my students. No, thank you. I don't eat sugar. I'm like, what is wrong with you people? It was one after the other.
But you don't even have to say that. You don't even have to, go into your explanation. A lot of people will say, I'm allergic to I'm allergic to seafood, and they, that's their food story, right? And people accept it without question. But then when you say, well, or even if you say, I don't really eat sweets, people accept that. But the reality is, it doesn't matter if anybody accepts what you say or not. That's the freedom. I don't care for sweets. I hear that all the time.
Yeah.
And why do I don't know why we feel we have to, like this woman was saying, why do we even have to explain it to people? We have to explain it to people why we don't want, we feel like we have to explain it.
I think we put a lot of pressure on each other, and society puts a lot of pressure on us too, to explain why we're doing this or not doing that. Like, I think people just feel like they have to, but as we're saying today, you don't. You really don't. You just no, thank you, and move on. And if that person wants to be a food bully, let them be the food bully. We have some of those out there.
A food bully.
Food bully. Yeah. But that's when you gotta stay true to your goals, your intention, and keep riding that wave of success to keep, getting to where you want to be.
Right. And that back to what you're saying, that I love that. No, thank you. We can practice that. No, just no explanation. And part of it, well, for me, right, I was like such a people pleaser, and I think that happens with a lot of women, right? We just, we want to
make
be
somebody happy and
right. We
eat
want
their
to make
food
everybody
and
happy, and you try to make everybody happy, and you end up you don't make anybody happy, especially yourself. So we have to. Is it who's that, Hamlet or somebody? To thine own self be true. Is Shakespeare? Somebody said that, right? So we have to be true to ourselves. Be true to our own intention, and fight for that and stand up for that. And it is as simple as no thank you. And sometimes it's like really hard to say those words, because we attach so much to what food means, right? So we think that we think that we're not celebrating like everybody else is celebrating if we don't eat. We think we might offend somebody, and we don't want to be the person to offend somebody if we don't eat. That's all the stuff that we think, stuff that we just made up.
More stories in our head.
More stories.
Yeah.
Just more stories. And
Or Michelle, what you always say too, and it makes me, I think about this a lot, and you say this, we feel like we're missing out on something. And it's like, no, what you're, if you eat that, what you're missing out on is the way you look and feel, your ideal health.
Yeah, you're missing out on your goal. Yeah.
Right. Yes. And so that is just reframing it, right? We reframe it because we think the choice is the food, right? We get stuck, and we think that that's what it is. And food is really a means to an end, or even what we put in our mouth is a means to an end. And the choice, like, thank you, Colleen, for bringing it up, is really the results that we want, how we want to look, how we want to feel, and how we want to show up. And just keeping that like ever present, right? And what's that? There's a book, or there's this train of thought about living in the now, right? Well, sometimes living in the now doesn't serve you. Sometimes you gotta live in the future. You have to imagine that you're in that place to get you through the perils of the now, right? Because some of the stuff that shows up right now, you can't if you stay stuck in it, you'll stay stuck in it. But if you can imagine the results and live in the results and live in where you want to be and make decisions that support where you want to be, then that's the beauty. That's the secret. That really is the secret. That I'm turning down cake and ice cream. I'm saying no thank you to the cake and ice cream, because I'm saying yes thank you to the black dress, or the black pants, or the swimsuit, or the whatever it is. Maybe it's cleaning out your medicine cabinet. Maybe it's getting off medication.
Walking up a flight of stairs.
Walking up a flight of stairs. Maybe it's not riding around in one of those carts. Right? Maybe it's that. Just being able. Maybe it's just being able to walk, and walk comfortably. For me, it was. I don't know if y'all can see me. No, you can't. But I was going to try. It was being able to cross my legs, right? I mean, the simple things, right? Or maybe it's being able to wear rings that you haven't worn in a long time. Some things that are like really meaningful to you. Or maybe it's being able to wear shoes that you haven't worn in a long time. Who knew that you gained weight in your feet?
Right. No, you do.
But you know what, too, Michelle? I think it's for women. I think it's feeling pretty in your clothes, even if it's your undergarment. It's having that feminine, wonderful feeling that we feel about ourselves that nobody else has to see, but we feel good, and that's something that we accomplish. As I think a lot of women just for themselves want to be, pretty. And who they are, what they see in the mornings when they get out of the shower or when they're starting to get dressed.
And but also what has happened, Colleen, is that I think that after a while, when you don't have that, when you don't have that experience, you get numb to the fact that you weren't having that experience. You kind of make do, right?
Yeah.
And you don't have to make do. The change is possible, right? The change is possible. You just have to believe, right?
You have to believe, and you have to take it one step at a time. I think that too many people try to change too many things at once. Just pick one thing, and just if it's just to drink more water this week.
Yes.
Yes. That's it.
Yes.
Then that's great.
I walk up. I'm sorry, Michelle. I walk up and down four flights of stairs 2 to 3 times a day at work because I sit all day. I don't want to sit all day.
Right.
So you got choices to make. Eat healthy and then get up and move.
Right. And you know what you just talked about, Colin? You just talked about being intentional. You talked about being intentional, and you talked about being conscious. That's what you talked about. And I think that we get stuck. I certainly did. I certainly was stuck for 40 years in mindless eating, right? Mindless eating and experiential eating and emotional eating and being self-conscious, right? And being self-conscious about my body. And once you flip the script on that and go from mindless to mindful, right? Go from mindless to mindful. That's when you're asking the questions. Am I really hungry? Do I really want this? Why this? Why now? If it's not going to give me the body that I want, why am I eating it? And then when you start asking yourself those questions and start making those changes, then your body, it starts to reflect in your body. It starts to reflect in your body, and you go from being self-conscious about your body to being conscious, right? Being conscious that these actions, this food impacts my body in such a way, right? And here's what Lisa has to say. We have to be forward thinkers about food, just like we do with our finances. Forward thinking is exactly how wealthy people gain and maintain their wealth. And Lisa, I think that's a topic. I think that's a topic for conversation, later on, because we hear all the time that your health is your wealth, right? We hear that all of the time. And the reality is that we can't access our full wealth if we are not in good health. And obesity is a disease. Obesity is a disease. And if we are not fighting that disease and getting ahead of that disease, then we're blocking our prosperity. We're blocking our prosperity, not just our health, but our wealth too, in ways that we don't even know. Because we just don't know. You don't, because that bias, right? The unconscious bias is real. Unconscious bias is real, and it's real for people of color. It's real as it relates to your age. It's real as it relates to how you show up, how people perceive people that are
exactly right.
Yeah, that's real. And so, and not only that, is that the time that we spend trying to wrap our head around getting healthy, and if our bodies are in the way or whatever we feel about that, right? That's blocking energy that we could be using on being productive, right?
That's right.
So we just, and the same skills that we take to move that out of the way, we can take those skills and apply it to every other area of our life and elevate how we live. Yeah.
And I think when people fall down or they take a little stumble, I think that they beat themselves up too much, and then they kind of give up on the goal. I've already had a piece of cake, right?
Yeah.
And it's get back on the horse.
The whole thing now.
No.
That's okay, right, Gina?
Stop.
Right, Gina? Right, Gina? I mean, do they need to get back on the horse and get back
right away? Right away. That's all I say.
But Gina, I want to go back to what you said earlier. I kind of got off track there. Is that one thing, right?
Yeah.
If we just concentrate on one thing at a time,
Mhm.
that gives us momentum for the next thing. And you take one thing at a time. And even if you don't do one, let's say you do one thing a month and master one thing in a month. A year from now, you'll have 12 things that you're doing differently, and that could just transform your life. That could transform your life completely. I know when we were doing motivational Mondays, and I am brand new. We started off, okay, just exercise, do some sort of movement.
Right.
Move one this week. Move 30 minutes, 20 minutes, one day a week. Just
right.
one day a week this week. The next week, move 2 days a week and take it up to 35 minutes. 3 days, 3 weeks, in 6 weeks, right? In 6 weeks, now you're doing something 6 days a week for an hour. And it's incrementally, right? It's incrementally. And all of a sudden, you're moving 6 days a week for an hour. You do that over time, you can transform your body and it not seem like such a big thing. It's just by doing that one thing, one day a week. It's like magic in 1 day a week. The same thing with food and what you eat. I remember when Chef Riri was on, and she talked about she just started off with fish. What was it? Fish? Oh, on Fridays. She did fish on Fridays. She did fish on Fridays, and that was the thing that got her started. Just changing that 1 day a week on Fridays, and next thing you know, she reinvents her entire life. So we've gone from birthday cake to fish all in 30 minutes.
As long as we don't mix them together.
But I think it's just to sum that up too, just one more point on that is from both of you, it's important to find that one thing, because it prevents the I fell off track, I give up, forget this whole thing.
Right.
Because if you're only focusing on that one thing, then you know what I mean? That's it. You don't have to think about the whole everything, like I was supposed to exercise, I was supposed to increase my water, I was supposed to eat more protein, and I was supposed to not eat sugar this week. Like that can be a lot.
Right.
So, that'll make you jump off the wagon. But if you pick one thing, you might have a better chance to succeed.
Absolutely.
And instead of saying what they can't have, what can they do?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
That's a really good one. Yeah.
Right. And nothing breeds success like success. Right. So you pick this thing that you can do, you pick this thing that you've had some success with, and you take that feeling of accomplishment and success and you apply it to the next thing, because you have some history. Yeah. Now you have some proof that you can do it. Right. Now you have some proof that making the change makes things better for you. Right. So you just take that. Yes. Train your mind like you train your body. Yes. Change your mind, change your body, and then you change your heart. All of that. But the change, as my friend Wendy Ellen said, the change is in the choosing. Right. The change. I love that word change. Yeah. You change your mind, you change everything. I wish that was mine, but that's not mine either. That's Christina's. So I want to give Christina. But that word change, in order to be different, we do have to change. We can't be afraid of change. We have to embrace change, right? And know that change will give us the result that we want. And we just need to stay focused on that result. Yeah. Yeah.
And Gina's going to tell us a little bit about her lentil.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
We had the lentil chili. So this is another good one. I think just all around, you have different colors in it, from the vegetables, the different bell peppers. Again, the antioxidants, lots of vitamins. But the lentils serving as, this could be a great meatless Monday or type of meal or something like that.
Oh, I like meatless Mondays.
Yeah, if you're trying to practice something like that, it's an instance of like, hey, maybe you're trying to eat more plant-based stuff. So this could be that one meal for the week that you choose. I also like it because you can get a lot of servings out of it. But the lentils serve as your protein, and you have a bunch of vegetables in there. And then when you're cooking with oil, I always tell people don't be afraid to cook with oil because you're counting that as your healthy fat. And healthy fats are important to incorporate as well. So yeah, this week, I think just with the change of the seasons for most of us, some of us are on the West Coast warmth, but on the East Coast, we're entering our chill.
Right,
So
right.
Philly might serve some of us a
I'm
little
still wearing
bit.
my tank, still wearing short sleeves today.
Yeah.
Yeah, she shall remain nameless. She remain nameless.
But in all, yeah, I think overall, just like also to great one pot dish type of meal, make it easy. You can repeat this a couple of times and freeze it.
I love that.
Okay. Yeah, and I like that you're sticking with your one thing theme.
Yes.
I love that.
One pot, one meal. One pot,
Yes.
one meal.
Just cook one thing this week.
Yeah,
Some
one
of us
thing,
don't
one
want to
thing
cook.
this week.
Gina, we have a question for you, Gina.
Sure. Okay. How can I get enough protein if I do meatless Monday? Well, you have protein in your lentils. So we have to remember what are the heavy plant-based types of food. So you've got your lentils. Quinoa has protein in it. So you can even add that to it. What else? The veggie burgers that have the added pea protein is something that we all being mindful of. If you're doing meatless, the addition of the pea protein to a lot of these foods helps. But staying away from those processed stuffs, you can add it normally with the legumes and with the with the different grains as well.
And if you're just not being vegan and you still eat dairy or eggs, those are
if you do eat, that's another protein. Yeah, and then they also have plant-based versions of this stuff too.
So is soy soy has a lot of protein in it, right?
It does. But I just say for certain people's health conditions, just be mindful of soy. Always consult somebody about how much soy you should be intaking if you have medical conditions.
Right.
Yeah. But yes, you can eat peas, Lisa. The peas are great. They have good amount of protein. Surprisingly, yeah, that is a good plant-based protein.
And so when we talk about Meatless Monday, do you count fish as meat?
I do. It is a meat. It is a protein, but I think there's two ways to look at it. Like for a meatless type of thing, there's that pescatarian way to do it, where you just all fish, no animal meat per se. And when I say animal meat, excuse me, I mean like chicken and beef and lamb and that kind of stuff. So I think you can do two versions kind of meatless to a degree, where it could just be fish or it could just be all plant-based, Yeah.
Got it.
But I would say one thing I do want to side note on that soy. If you're going to do it with the natural plant. Edamame is the natural plant for soy. So,
So good.
Yeah, do that organic.
You know what? I love myself. I love falafel. I love the chickpeas. The chickpeas. Yeah.
I love chickpeas.
Yeah.
And that's another great protein source right there.
Yeah. So there's this place I go where you can get the chickpeas 3 ways. Yeah. So that's some kind of good.
Look at us talking about food on a brand new take.
But they're all healthy options. And another way to get your protein in on meatless is with your snacks. So roasted chickpeas is another snack that you can do. Roasted edamame is another one too. So there are other things that you can do to incorporate getting your protein in if you are trying to be a vegan or you're a vegetarian or you're trying to just decrease the amount of meat that you intake.
So I mean, we can talk about food. Of course, we have to eat. You have to eat to live.
You got to eat something, right? Fueling our energy.
with our.
That's the point. That's the point. To eat to live, right? To eat to live better, right? To eat to live well, right?
Yeah.
So that your food is serving your body, so that you can live the kind of life that you want to live and how you can show up how you want to show up.
Yeah.
And with that, I think we're gonna close things out tonight. Thank you for joining us tonight on a brand new take. Thank you, Dr. Colleen. We appreciate your support. Thank you, Gina. If you want to tell people how to reach you, We want to make sure you give you a platform for that.
Yep, you can find me on Instagram at Gina Trim Nutrition, and then you can email me too at Gmail. Same address, GinaTrimNutrition@gmail.com.
Yay. And I'm Michelle Pettis. I'm a food story finder. You can find me if you're looking for me on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram at I Am Brand New Now. You in the Facebook group, my Facebook group, I Am Brand New Now too. And then we're on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, I Am Brand New Now. If you want to download a free chapter of my book that's coming out later in the month of November, you can download a free chapter at leavinglarge.com. That's Leaving Large, the stories of a food addict. And we want to just thank you tonight for joining us. And remember, it's not about the food, it's about the story behind the food.